Welcome to One More Thing. I'm Brett Watson. This is my friend, Dr. Troy Doucet, and we're talking about Sunday's sermon, which I knew ahead of time because we had talked so much, the week prior about the material, and I was traveling. I had to watch it online, but I thought a fantastic, hit it out of the park kind of sermon.
Thanks, man.
Looking at point one, you said something, as you were expounding on that point, the point being, in our waiting, will we be triggered or will we trust? Will we be filled with frustration or with faith? And then as you talked about that point, you brought up the story of Martha and her angst over the fact that Jesus wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, well, I wasn't there for, I was 20 miles away when I healed that dude's centurion's servant and so on. But I don't need to be there. But the thing that stood out to me in this was when you said, it's like Jesus is saying, it's not about relying on what I can do for you. It's about recognizing who I am in you. Mm-hmm. It's not about being triggered because I didn't do what you think I should have, but being transformed in all that I am doing. I can do the things I can do because of who I am. And when you understand this truth, then transformation follows, not transaction. Mm-hmm. That was just gold, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Thank you.
So I thought that would be a good thing to talk about, mm-hmm. and how this story demonstrates that truth. It's not about transaction. It's about transformation.
Yes.
So expound.
Yeah. It's just so clear. It's, at least to me, it's very clear of this truth, like the revealing truth, mm-hmm. the discovering truth. We saw it last week. Jesus says, I am, the Son of God. But so are you.
Yeah.
And then Martha, the theologian, he says, I know my brother will rise again on the day of resurrection. And Jesus goes, I am the resurrection. I am that which brings dead things to life. And it's not a story of a guy just coming back from the dead. Resurrection has a much more deeper meaning than just Lazarus is back. Jesus is back. Jairus' daughter's back. The centurion's servant man is back. No, dude, there are things in our life that can be resurrected.
Yeah.
And
that's almost inevitable, right? I mean, this is something that we see. This is what Rohr calls a pattern that's always true in reality. You see birth, death, and resurrection all over the place.
Every season. But this resurrection is transformation. Mm-hmm. Salvation is transformation. But we've boxed these ideas into this sort of very, very, very limited scope of theology that says, no, salvation means I am saved from some place. Instead of, no, I am saved to a transformed life. This is what Jesus does over and over and over again. But because of our need for power and control, to say some are in and some are out based upon same thing the Pharisees are doing.
Yeah.
Hold gatekeepers. This is the truth.
Yeah.
We've decided in our own thinking, in our own time of cogitation and contemplation, that this is the standard in which salvific means occurs. When Jesus goes, no. Like, that's transactional.
Yeah.
To say someone is in and someone's out means you had to do something to get in, and you're not doing something which keeps you out. And Jesus says there's nothing you do to get in, and there's nothing that you do to keep you out. It is simply an awakening to this fact that I am always in the business of transformation when you have recognition. And it's that simple, man.
So how much do you think the the church is bent, so much of the church anyway, this is, you could overgeneralize, but so much of, I guess, what you'd call popular American Christianity is bent towards this notion of transaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just decide one day, to give mental assent to who Jesus is as the Son of God, and that saves me.
Yeah.
Which is wild because that is a work. That's a superiority thing, right? It's my decision that makes this possible.
That's if then.
It's if then, exactly. So my question is, like, how much do you think that actually gets in the way of transformation? Which is clearly, I agree with you. I think it's very clear throughout the Gospels and the epistles that this is about transformation. It's not about a transaction.
That's it. It's 100% always already that it is not the intellectual assent or even acceptance of anything. How do I say this rhetorically to be clever? It's not the intellectual assent or acceptance. It is the practical application and practice of the things in which we are told to do. Love God. How do you do that? How do you love your wife? You hear her, you see her, right?
You're engaged in relationship.
You're engaged, and you think about the things that she adds to your life that, or at least for me, that bring beauty and meaning.
Yeah.
And it's from the smallest things. It's not the grandiose things. It's some of the smallest things, the way she cooks or the way she does this. And when I recognize those things, man, there's a deepening of that love. And that's how we love God. Like, dude, I see God everywhere, everywhere. And he's not an old man with a white beard. God is the very essence of life and beauty and goodness. It's funny, like our word God is just the Anglo-Saxon, derivative of good. That's all it is.
Yeah.
If you think about that. The thing we call God simply means good. All the things that are good. So a sunset, a breeze. I look at palm trees and I'm like, thank you, God. Like,
I walked out of the door. We're in the middle of moving and all this stuff, so our car's all trashed. But Arlene and I walked out. She had to drop me off because she needed the vehicle, right, to keep moving stuff. And I walked out, and there's this little white and yellow fuzzy caterpillar on the trunk. And I was like, wow, look at that. That's freaking amazing. I'd never seen one like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, yeah. But that's what you're talking about,
that's
right?
It.
You see God everywhere.
Everywhere. And so here's how I want to say it. In this, if you take one thing from the one more thing that I probably should, and I might say this again on Sunday because not everyone watches the one more thing. Mm-hmm. And I think this comes from John Shelby Spong, so I'm going to paraphrase it, but it's been forever. God is not a noun that demands definition from human rationality. God is a verb which commands us to live into the essence of that very being, which is love. Like, that's it. That's God. That's God. And when you project human characteristics and attributes onto this verb, then you skew it toward a noun, a person, place, or thing. God is not a person, place, or thing. God is in person, places, and things, but God is in those things in order to sort of create within us a response to that. And that is love, and that is goodness, and that is, like I talked to my mom yesterday, man, and I have my cousin, her name's Stacy. She's going through all this crap with her kidney, dude, like just kidney failure. My mom called me very, very just upset. Like, what do I tell her, Troy? What do I tell her? She's like, why is God doing this to me? I said, no. It's not God. I said, here's the thing. Here's what I would tell her. Whether your life is given to be 90 years, 100 years, or whether your life is given to be 45, 50 years. Doesn't matter. Live it to the fullest potential of love that, like, every day should be me. Because let's face it, dude, you have some people who live over 100 years, and it's like they're just like whatever. But yet, I know people who've only lived to be got the worst news. They have cancer or whatever, and you have 5 years to live, dude. I'm only 25, and those 5 years, they've lived more in those 5 years than they ever would have to. Most people live to be 100. And I think that's the point, is even the aspects of life that we would not consider good, it is still about this transformative power to experience this life, to know that I believe that this is not the end, that this is not the end of me. This may be the end of this sort of experience that I may have in this sort of vessel of life's experience.
This part of reality. Yeah.
But Nietzsche said it the best, is the problem with Christianity is that we've undervalued this life and overvalued the life to come. Mm-hmm. Whereas I go, no, this life is the gift. This is the gift. And it's in those moments of, that's why Paul says, I work out my salvation, my transformation, my awakening to the very truth of what God is, not who God is, but what God is every day. And it's in that awareness that I can overcome news of cancer or kidney disease.
And why Paul could say to die is gain.
That's it.
And to live is to live to Christ.
That's it. And when Jesus says a man needs to lose his life in order to find it, what he's saying is, no, it's the grave clothes.
Yeah.
It's lose this notion of life,
yeah,
to find this notion of life. And it's compare and contrast. Which is better? To live every day knowing that I am loved, that I was created. I'm not going to say created for some purpose or some telos. But yeah, you were created for a purpose. And it's not to become a doctor, lawyer, or whatever, preacher, whatever. You were created with a purpose. And that purpose is to live in love with your creator. And that creator is everywhere in creation itself.
And in doing that, to transform into something different than what you were.
Oh, man.
So you're constantly, is it fair to say, you're constantly dying to what you were.
Yep.
And rising to something new.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's it, man. And so that's why I love the story of Lazarus, because, again, it's beyond just a story of a man being raised from the dead. That's too easy. Like,
yeah.
It's too easy. It's too vanilla for the vividness and colorfulness of God. There are things, and I think there are principles in that story, like Richard Rohr would say, all the principles that are always true. Take God to that hidden place. I say it in the notes, because what you continue to hide will not heal. What you continue to hide won't heal. I don't care what it is. And by healing, I'm not saying, oh, you're going to be healed of cancer or brain disease or heart disease. But what I'm saying, you'll be healed of this old way of thinking about life and existence and meaning and purpose and love.
You'll be healed by dying.
Yeah. Die to that old way.
Yeah.
And take those grave clothes off, dude, because that's exactly what I say about the Pharisees. They saw the miracles. They believed them. And they said, I'm still keeping on the grave clothes. And that's what Christianity does today in the West, is we see the power of love transforming people's lives. Like, we see it. But because it doesn't fit an if-then scenario, because it doesn't fit a transactional method of theology, then it's discounted, because it removes the summer in and summer out.
We keep the grave clothes on.
That's it. And it's the very fact that all are in. We're all in God's family. We're all part of the same network of being, And that's, for me, that's a beautiful thing that I awaken to, that I tell myself every day. And again, I say it over and over. The fear, just like the Pharisees, what did they say? If we don't get rid of this,
everybody's gonna
Rome's going to come destroy Jerusalem. And guess what? They did it anyway.
Yeah.
They did it anyway. And the fear for Western Christianity is that, if God's love transforms everyone, when we awaken to that truth, it's gonna. We're just gonna have people just doing whatever the hell they want to do with no regard for morality or ethics or.
That's nonsense.
It's absolutely nonsense. It's an if then. It's a slippery slope argument.
Yeah.
And I go, do you read the Bible? Like, do you even read it?
It's so true.
I mean,
Yeah.
because again, I probably have a very different view of that book and what it is than someone who's more conservative or fundamental, evangelical. But we're reading the same book, and I go, it says that it is the kindness of God, the love of God, the grace of God that causes me
To change.
to transform.
Yeah.
Nothing, not wrath, not anger, not fear, not hell, but love.
Yeah.
Love is the most powerful, transformative power that God has and that God has given us to give away. That's why I say it, dude. I know people get tired of hearing it. Love people when they least expect it, and even more so when they least deserve it.
Yep.
And that will change a life, man. And that's what we do.
It does. It changes lives. And is it fair to say that, I think it's interesting in the story that Jesus tells them to go and remove the grave clothes from Lazarus's body.
You move the stone. You take off the grave clothes.
Yeah. So it's like a call to community to help one another to remove those stinky old grave clothes.
That's right.
And help each other in the transformation process.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're all included in that, man. And that's the beauty. Not just pastors. Like,
No,
bro. Get in there. Help people.
everybody's a part of that grand purpose.
Yeah.
Everybody. And I would say even everything.
Yeah, man.
So great stuff, man. Loved it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.